Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Peace on the Streets Radio Show. And I'm your host, Prince of the Sun.
Hey, and your girl Mimi Mala with.
And your labor, what's up,
Welcome
everybody?
back, and y'all.
Welcome back, brother.
What's up,
I
fam?
hope all is well in the land of the living with you, brother.
What's amen?
Hey, we all alive, man. That's the best we can hope for. You know who else is alive? Our special guest.
Yeah.
Hey.
Love the introduction.
I ain't seen her since last year, man.
That's
know,
right.
I
know.
Happy New Year to you, Mrs.
Happy New
Harris.
Year.
In case you all don't know, she is our political advisor,
Oh, yeah.
among other things. So, how you been, Miss Harris?
I'm good.
What is going on in the land of the living? We know everybody's getting ready. We know Donald Trump is, it looks like, hey, he
Getting
is.
crazy.
Do y'all like some of the things that Donald Trump does at the
Yes.
party? The party.
I
the
do.
Republican Party.
I just like how straightforward and blunt he is. I think they need it because they're usually wise guys, you know what I mean, on their own way.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the rawness. How about that?
I feel that. You know, there's something about somebody that's going to tell you that he's going to spit in your face and then actually do it.
Yeah.
Rather than someone that's like, hey, look over there.
Right.
And then, and then spits on your face.
Yes.
I respect that.
Right. How about you, Miss Harris?
Well, sometimes people have to take a little whooping so they can understand the reality of things.
Okay.
So, yes, there are things that are harsh and outrageous. However, at the end of the day, he's telling you what's in his heart, and that's actually in the heart of all the rest of them that follow him.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now there's no secret. So if they got a hood over their face, now you know.
That's right.
That's right.
Where he is, you got to be with him or without him. It ain't no splattering the fence, as they say. Either you're going to be with him or without him. And,
Right.
wasn't it funny that nobody dissed him, DeSantis, and nobody said
They
anything
scared.
about him?
They scared.
I think they endorsed him,
they're-
didn't they?
They're
Yes,
not
they did.
scared.
Yeah, that's why
Oh,
they
they scared
endorsed him.
They're not scared of him.
like the mafia.
It's what they feel as well. You have to understand. Look at Nikki Haley. She has to be so careful, and she's tiptoeing around things. It's not that it.
Is it about the party?
They don't want to step on certain people's toes that they know that support that foolishness.
Okay, gotcha.
So
Come on,
if
man.
you
Boom.
are a supporter of that foolishness, it's like, well, even if I don't totally agree with you, they're scared to agree to disagree.
Because he got so many followers.
Right.
He got so, and then he ain't
the
scared to call you out
Republican
either.
He
Right.
And his followers.
He's
is-
not afraid, but they are afraid because if they go against him, DeSantis said it best when he suspended his campaign. He said, well, if you're in agreement with him, you're his best friend.
Right.
If you're not in agreement with him and you're stepping
It's
on his
true.
toes, he put that out there.
It's like a child.
Yeah.
So he took DeSantis' name back
embarrassing.
because he had a name for him. So he said, well,
did.
since he
He has a name for everybody.
Yeah.
He belittles us all.
Exactly.
What a
crazy.
buffoon.
so some of the policies I see that's going on with the same sex, with fuzz on the driver's license.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
lot
you
of
heard about
stuff
that in
bad.
Florida? Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
know you know, Cynthia. Now they're going to keep it real on their license.
Yeah, so whatever your biological assignment at birth is going to be on your driver's license. So if you are a transgender, if you identify as male and you're a female, you must identify with your assigned birth gender. So,
What about their name?
well, that's kind of a fine line
It's
because
kind of still in the air.
well, because legally you could change your name to Boo Boo the Fool. And if you go to a court and go before a judge and he gives you the right to change your name, you legally can put that on your driver's license.
So that
But
remains the same.
But that's a process.
Yes, it is.
So, but if you're Nicholas and you want to be called Nicole, that's not happening anymore in Florida.
If you don't legally change your name in the courthouse, it's going to remain the same. But
Mm-hmm.
but as a transgender, it'll be your birth.
Whatever
you were born with.
your assignment is. So
Don't you still have to like tell them what it is? like at the place?
No, because remember the Patriot Act, you have to bring your driver's license, your picture ID, your birth certificate, and your social security.
Yeah.
So that's a requirement in the Patriot Act. So when you go get your identification, you have to supply your birth certificate.
Okay.
So if your birth certificate says male, then you are a male. If it says female, you're a female. So whatever you're assigned at birth, that's it. There's no, they got so many different pronouns now, and trans,
This is so petty.
pansexual,
I feel like this is the biggest waste of time ever. Like, whether you agree with the actual law or not, I feel like it's so dumb because there's so many other problems that we could be
absolutely,
looking
it's a
at.
distraction.
It's a distraction.
That's what it
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing? What are we talking
So
about?
while you should be
Distraction.
focusing on other things, now they throw in a new distraction
here,
for you.
Look
so
over there.
Yeah, look over there.
Look over
And
there.
this-
Yeah.
And they showing out over here. That means they is showing out. So
okay, I'm gonna throw a firecracker over here. Pow, pow, pow. You're looking over there. In the meantime, I done stole from up under your nose.
Straight up.
because they're saying 5,000 immigrants is coming in here a day.
Yes.
We got
A
how many
day.
billions going to Israel right now so that they can go bomb brown kids?
Well, you know why? Because we in bed with them because we're going to go help build the country back up. That's the only way America, when I see them in different countries, they're not in different countries for no reason.
They're not really for them.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they're really for the territory.
Yeah.
Man, America,
Yeah.
you're killing me. There's always an agenda.
We knew we was getting oil from Russia. We getting oil from so many different places,
Power is
you
gonna
know,
be sued,
but
man.
we don't even know when they was like, we getting oil from Russia. When?
The whole time.
Yeah.
The whole time it turns out.
We're so codependent on
It's
so many other
crazy.
countries, especially China. So if you think about it, during COVID, when the whole world shut down, what was your dependency level? You depended on China for chips, for your cars, your computers, your
Masks.
televisions, your phones.
Yeah, mask, right?
Yeah.
Is that something?
So everything is made over there. When World War One and Two, we pride ourselves in made in America.
Right.
And now you can't find anything hardly that's made in America, not even your cars.
Right.
Yeah.
Bring
it back.
My daughter had to do a research on. We had to go to the stores and find things that's not made in America. Oh my God, man!
That is made in America.
That is made in America.
Right.
Man, that was so hard. You know, some things that's not made in China.
Right. Yeah.
Different other countries besides China, and that was so hard.
China, Taiwan,
Lord have
Mexico.
mercy, you
Mexico.
know.
Yeah, so
You know.
those are the three staples that we depend on everything, including our food.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that the reason why these jobs left in the first place was just because rich capitalists here in America wanted to have cheaper labor.
Yeah.
So they just were like, okay, we got, hey,
Well, we ain't got slaves no more.
yeah, screw you
We-
guys.
yeah,
We're
man.
gonna go to China.
Well,
and get
technically
some
you
Chinese
do.
Slaves.
Okay, technically we do.
Yeah, in the
Oh,
prison
man.
system.
Oh
There you
yeah.
go.
Did you
Yeah.
see that case where they found like 100 and something dead people behind the jail in Mississippi or something, and they were just unmarked graves?
Come on.
People were just dying, and they were just tossing them in there. A mother was looking for her son, like a grown son, because he had been missing for a few days. Eventually, she finds him, and the police take her behind to like
The jail.
Yeah, behind the jail to a dirt field with a bunch of sticks hanging out of them. It's like 100 or 200 different people that
Wow.
were buried in shallow graves and were just completely ignored back there. And
This
they
a prison?
and they made
No,
her
it's
pay-
behind the jail.
Jail.
behind the jail. He wasn't a prisoner. He was just
They
got
have little
murdered,
small
basically.
jails. It's like little walk-ins.
And
They got little small
And then they
jails.
made her. They charged her to get the body out.
yeah.
as well.
No.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
But I'm scared of Mississippi. Cause Memphis is right next to Mississippi, and
This is recent, yeah?
we was all scared to go to Mississippi, especially at night. I mean, you know, you would go over there in the daytime, but at night, oh boy, you better get up out of
Is
Mississippi.
this an old school like story though? Like this
No,
is not.
but
just
see
happened.
that happens everywhere. So I'm from Mississippi, so
Gosh,
you know,
guys.
a lot of people they look at Mississippi burning.
Yeah.
But Florida is the most racist state on the planet,
Really?
next to Alabama.
Besides
Really?
Alabama, yeah.
And so,
And Louisiana.
and the reason why I say that is
Besides
because you'll have people that'll say, "Well, most of my best friend is black." they'll stab you in the back, kiss you in the mouth, and while they're putting a hood over their face as they're walking out the door. So in Mississippi and Alabama, those states, if they're racist night and day. You know who they are. And there's such a small handful of those people.
Right.
Versus when you go to Mississippi, it's a different world.
Right.
Because when you go down to Mississippi and you see somebody like, hey, how you doing? And you're like, they talking to me?
Right.
Because people are not friendly.
Yeah.
But if it's a racist person, they gonna N-word you to death. But guess what? When they N-word you, they running. They not standing in your face saying it unless they got enough amen corner to back them up.
I see.
But if they gonna call you the N-word, they gonna call you one, but they running while they say it.
Right.
I can't believe that. Is this story, though? I'm sorry to say. I'm just so surprised. Is this from the past that they found?
No, this is recent.
This is a very recent story. I'm going to look it up in this commercial break, and then when we come back,
this is recent.
So these people that died are recent?
Yeah, well, I mean, they got hangings right here in Orlando.
Yeah.
This is not good.
We've had people.
How's this legal? It's not.
That's hung.
That's been hung right here in Orlando.
They saying that they hung themselves. Come on now.
Yeah,
how many black
you
people
had
you know hang themselves?
Recently, the women.
It was a young lady last year, and then the year before, a young man.
A young man.
Right here in Orlando, and then they ruled it as a hanging, saying that they committed suicide.
So they did hang themselves outside.
Yeah, so I found that here.
This is really
last
bad.
case was found out about 3 weeks ago. Was when the story broke. It was hundreds of bodies, 215 bodies that were found outside of a jailhouse outside of Jackson, Mississippi, and these were made up of bunch of people that were considered missing. They were just not found. And it turns out that they had mysteriously ended up dead behind this jailhouse.
Wow.
And they were not prisoners.
They were not
They're just citizens out there.
Just a citizen out there that just disappeared one night and never came
This
back.
is their graveyard. This is like their hate graveyard.
Unidentified graveyard.
But their crime is kind of low because, like in Memphis, right now they're doing a lot of crime. I know everybody hear about Memphis shooting and killing, and then that's what they'll do in Memphis. They'll block the roads, the expressways, and just start burning rubble. I mean, my sister them saying they've been caught up in this for like 2 hours while they're just spinning and the police can't even get to them. But Mississippi got on there and said, hey, this ain't Memphis. Y'all come down here with this foolishness, we're locking you up. And so they real strict on it. Say, y'all can get away with this in Memphis. Mississippi, we ain't having it.
No.
So, it's crazy.
It's a different world. When you go into different places, like I said, people think that Florida is cool. Florida's its own island of misfits and craziness and chaos all by itself. And, every time you turn around, you got people saying, what are y'all doing down there in Florida? Because now a lot of our stuff is making national news.
But you got to check that show out.
I've seen, she got 2 of them. She got 2 with one. She used to date a black guy. And he was up in Oakland, and she kind of bought the drugs and stuff up there. And then
that's another drug show.
Yeah, so it's I've watched a lot of that.
It's good
stuff,
I was like, ooh.
We got to get some.
Let me give a real quick shout out though, if I may. So I got to give a shout out to Julio and Dalia. Now this beautiful couple, they're beautiful by the way. They're getting married next weekend.
Nice.
And I got to give them a shout out because I'm their officiant, and they found me, guys. Check this story out. They found me on Facebook, and they found me in a group marriage. Where they were speaking about who was a great officiant. So they were speaking about me, which is insane.
Nice.
And thanks be to God, their original officiant double booked, but then they called me, and I was able to speak with them and have a great relationship with them. And then they like me.
Nice.
And so they hired me to be their officiant next Wednesday. So next weekend. So that's a big trust, big ideal for me just to sit here and actually like be the one to like close the deal, if you want to say. So again, I'm grateful for you guys. Thank you for your time and trust. Thank you for listening to us now on Peace on the Streets Radio. They're tuning in because they heard we're on radio.
Hey.
So big shout to them, guys. Much love, success, and
Congratulations.
longevity of love. Congratulations.
And we want to give a shout out to the owner, Ashanti, WOKB. If you're listening, girl, happy birthday.
Also, Chris Shaw.
Yeah, Chris
Happy
Shaw,
birthday.
And you guys, guess what? Smooth jazz.
Woo,
Tonight with Peace on the Street,
okay,
you
clap
guys.
the gloves on.
I wanted something just smooth and relaxing today, you guys. I think the 4th Wednesday of the month is gonna be jazz. and I want to do the blues.
Okay.
Like the third, I got some blues
Where
for the
has that
third,
gone?
you know.
Some of that Memphis blues.
You better believe it.
That stuff that we don't hear in Florida.
Exactly. It's one song that said the lady singing. It's crazy.
Forget about it. It's a G-rated show.
Which
can't
one?
get
Because
fined.
there's a lot of them at Memphis play.
We can't get fined. Watch it, Prince. Where's
It's
the
good.
boo?
Which artist?
No, you ain't got to bleep it.
You don't want that old lady calling you.
Don't leave your wife. She love you. I don't. You know.
Oh goodness gracious!
It's a crazy song.
No,
But anyway.
let's get.
No, they got some real good ones now, and they're raw, but they're clean.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Memphis plays some really good stuff.
I'm sure.
Don't
Because
get mad at
sometimes
me.
if I'm in Memphis and I'm listening to that, I have to get Google tell me what this is, so that I can play it when I get home.
Ah.
Keep your dog on the fence. In his
What's
fence,
this song?
So we're gonna do some blues every now and then, you guys. We were just talking, Mimi, about.
So we're talking about the laws, like
the
everything
laws.
going on in our state. And Cynthia Howard is the one to speak with in the building. She knows the law. So I had something
Not
happen.
everything. Don't give me all that credit.
She's modest. As I say about Enyo, he's a genius in what he does. You guys are modest.
Yeah,
You're modest.
yeah. You do great work.
Absolutely. So I had something that had occurred to me for the first time in my entire life, believe it or not. And I'm raised a military brat. I'm raised with guns. I've seen a lot of guns. I shoot. I have about 3 personally.
Uh-huh.
And it's really because I ended up getting them when I moved here because everybody else can get one. So I figured, like, if you all have one, I might have to as well. So that's how I survive. But I don't actually travel with it because I'm not ready for it, and I think that I might get angry. So I don't do it.
Okay.
And so I had something happen to me last week, and I haven't spoken about it till today, which everybody's been hitting me up on. I didn't think it was, I knew it was serious, but I didn't think that so many people would call me, send me messages. So I'm really grateful for all of you. It's amazing how their hearts are. So there's a lot of good than bad. But I had road rage where I had put my signals on and turned peacefully. It was so peaceful that I didn't merge in fast or shortcut anybody. It was all peaceful. And then someone behind me, I kept hearing things being thrown at my car, and I thought it was a tree dropping acorns because we're so innocent. My son's like, "Oh, mommy's gotta be the acorns." I said, "Okay, maybe, son." Yeah. Right? And he's 15 years old. So when I'm leaving, I keep hearing psh, 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 the whole ride down this road. I'm not gonna say my roads. I'm not gonna say my people because I want to just keep it confidential because of what's going on is actually a case.
Right.
So when I was driving down, I keep hearing psh, psh, psh. And then I looked again, and then I see this guy behind me, like Cruella DeVille, like no doubt, son. Like he looked that angry. You know, when she's like this in the car, and her mouth is like going crazy, and then her face is going crazy, and she's swerving. That's what he was doing to me behind me. I guess he wanted my attention.
I guess so.
And then kept throwing, and then finally I realized it was him because when he tried to pull up next aggressively, I pulled up next so he get next to me because I'm not having that. I already know what's gonna happen.
Right.
And when I pulled up next, he still ended up going far right to go to the turning lane and threw right at my window again.
What was he doing?
He cut me off and pulled me to the side where I got stuck to the side, and he pulled out a gun and put it right to my son's window. And when he did that, I ended up, I for some reason, Prince, like I just like, I don't want to say I blanked out, but I was more like, is he for real? And then that's when I heard my son say, "Oh, mommy, that's a gun." And then he didn't know I had another son in the back that's under 12. And he said, "Oh my gosh, that's a gun." And then all I could say was duck. And we ducked and we didn't argue. He screamed. We didn't argue. I didn't lower the window. Royal was mad. I told him, if you get out, they'll shoot you because that's what they do. They shoot kids. They'll shoot you. Look what happened to Trayvon Martin. Right. You can't fight an adult and you can't fight someone with a gun. Yeah. So right when we ducked, he took off and he left.
That's a incident in Tampa where the 4-year-old just got shot.
A 4-year-old?
Yeah, they just arrested this guy either today or yesterday in Tampa where he shot at another person and they had a 4-year-old child in the back seat and the 4-year-old was shot. This just happened just recently.
Okay, I'm just gonna talk about to the people because the people have been wanting to hear this. So I'm just gonna keep it real. Like I really believe. First of all, thanks be to God, right? But I really believe that the fact is that I didn't argue back with him. Mm-hmm. The fact is that I told my son not to lower the window.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Don't get out of the car. Just look like a pussy. And duck and bend your head and get down because you can't argue with anyone with a gun.
No, you can't.
They're not going to argue back. They're going to shoot you, and they will get my kids. And so I felt so defenseless where I'm like, I can't say one word because of them. And then even if I had a gun, it'll be a shootout. So I would never even do that. You know what I mean? Because my kids. So that's just how you got to take it. You got to eat it, suck it in, be quiet, and let them go. I told my son we're going to get him the smart way. Let him go. And he's a 15-year-old that's never experienced anything like it. Right. And for the first time in my life, I heard him kept being so angry about it. He kept talking about it all night. The next morning, I guess he was real dramatized. Right. And he kept saying, forget that guy. He can't do that to women and children. I'm going to get out. I'm like, no, look what happened with George Zimmerman. I'm sorry if you guys want to hear it or not. You know, there was an adult that was harassing a kid, and that's what's happening here. So they're just going to shoot you. Right. Self-defense. In Florida, number one is self-defense. That's what they're going to say. So I believe by not arguing, by just turning around, by just bow down. Have it.
Just go ahead and let it go.
We didn't get shot. But I say, son will get him the smart way. He didn't know I took his tags.
Right. Nice.
So I reported it to the cops, and they called me in the other day for a lineup. It's that serious. And I just identify him. And now it's going to go with aggravated assault is what they said they're going to do. I've never experienced anything like it. I'm going to leave it up to God and leave it up to the state. But I did want to say something because of he was harassing me, a woman, and then he showed a gun. So that means that's what he does.
Yeah.
And if it was a child prince by himself, like a 20-year-old, like a 17, 18-year-old.
Whenever people talk about fragile masculinity and toxic masculinity, that's exactly what people are talking about. It's like that guy that's just angry and whips out a gun and he thinks that's being masculine, that's being strong. It's like, you're not strong, you're a bitch.
Right. Yeah, man.
You're a coward. Like that, and what you did is the right thing. You can't argue with those people.
No, and then he already got the gun out.
Yeah, there's no winning in that circumstance.
And that's that mother instinct in you anyway, because you had to protect your children.
Yes.
So if you, I can see if you weren't with your children, it probably would have been a different
story. It might have been.
You would have been like, hey, bring it.
Maybe it was God's will, but for Prince, he's in bigger trouble because he pointed at a child.
Yeah.
So now he didn't know. Or if he did, or maybe he didn't, he looked at his face. Whether you could tell or not, you know he was younger than you, young man. And this man was between the ages of 20 to 27, how he looked.
Okay.
You know.
In the car,
right. So child endangerment. Yeah.
And the windows weren't tinted, so he could see him clearly.
Check this out. Road rage has been responsible for about 300 deaths since 2013.
300 deaths.
In Florida.
300.
I'm guessing just in Florida alone.
It didn't say. And then it said 30 murders annual a year in the United States of road rage.
I just say this, guys. You cannot stop an angry person. They're a stranger to you. They could give two, what do you say or not. If they're that angry, you just bow down and balance. That get their tags and talk about it later, because now we could talk about it. Yeah. Everybody's safe. Everybody's good.
It happened to me before. I was in Memphis, and that's like about almost 30 years ago. I was riding. I passed this person. He passed me. I passed him again. He got close to me, pulled the gun. I slowed down. You can have at it, baby.
That's why I don't want to carry because I'm not ready for that, and I don't.
Because they're gonna be talking to you. I mean,
yes, it will.
I ain't got to back down.
The same way that they brought it up, you're gonna feel compelled to do the same thing.
But I'd say this, Enyo, if it was me with a man, Rob or anybody, it might have been different because once you show a gun, you gotta shoot it.
Yeah,
you gotta shoot it, and that's why I can't believe he did that. If I would have shown mine, straight up shootout.
Yeah, shootout, and you know.
When I know, just like that. For nothing.
We live in like a movie world. It's like a shootout could just have that.
Well, that's where America started, though. The cowboy days. Guess what? Me and you get into it at a bar. Guess what we doing?
Duel.
We having a duel going on outside.
The cowboy days.
So this is nothing new. What happened? It has piped down, but guess what? It's piping back up.
If
now.
you're going to women and children, you really are a boom, boom. Like, really, son?
It's anybody because when I worked in the prison, I had a coworker that did that. He lost his job as a result of that because we're getting off work midnight.
Okay.
And I don't know what transpired, but he brandished his gun at someone riding down the highway. They reported it. He lost his job.
They reported it. You see what I mean?
It's like, why do it?
So
and like with me, I have road rage all the time. But guess what? I done called them some names. Oh Lord,
I think we all have.
You know what I said, Prince? I told my son, give me a GoPro, record me reacting to people.
Oh my God,
it'll be a hit.
Yeah, because people can't drive.
To myself, not at the
and
people.
You have to be very careful because my youngest grandson just turned 7 last week.
Happy birthday, little man.
Yay.
And then the other one, he made it to 15 today.
Hey.
Happy birthday, little man. Big man.
So one day he was like, hurry up and move out the way. Don't you see the light is green? And I was like, okay, I got to be careful what I say.
Yes, indeed. I be saying all kind of stuff because, I mean, you're trying to go. They see her on the phone. You see him in the phone. Man, where you go?
I can say a lesson learned, though. My son did experience a critical thinking moment on the spot, which is life or death.
Yeah.
So I feel like he experienced that. And to have him understand you can't beat all the battles. You have to back down at certain cases that can save your life. I really think this taught him that.
That's
and
good.
he understands, as being as a young man, as we all know, young men get shot left and right real easily.
Yeah.
And especially if they look older, they're taller, and they already think they're adults, and they're like 15, 16, 17.
Right.
Boys get the bad end of it, and I know because I'm all boys, I have all boys in my family. I see what they go through. Adults talk to them like they're adults, and they're like 15 years old, but they stand at 6'4", and they're getting spoken to like, you know, adults, and they're getting treated like that. They get treated like criminals. They're already being suspects off top. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're such good kids. Little do you know, but you're gonna make them monsters because they see these adults, they don't trust them.
Well, they're under a lot of pressure as teens because that age group is always never back down. I'm not afraid of anything.
Yeah.
Even when they are afraid, they don't want to acknowledge that they are afraid of anything. So it's oh, I'm not scared of anything.
Yeah.
I'm going to fight him, Mommy. I'm like, you can't. He's a grown man. Number one. Number two, he's got a gun. Son, you can never beat a gun.
Exactly.
No, Mommy.
You can never argue.
Yeah.
It's the principle in their mind. So
that's what it is. I think he felt like, how dare you approach my mom,
especially to my mom.
Yeah, man.
And then me, I'm like, wow, I can't believe it really got his heart. He kept talking about it. So I'm just saying, like, this is what you need to do. You see, we're alive. He's reported. Now we can help the next family or the next people involved.
He needs to be taken off the road.
Yeah.
Sure. I hate to be that one, though.
No,
like I know, because it really got to me. Like I'm like, maybe I should just back out, and then I'm like, no, because I could be saving lives. So let me just be quiet, and then we just take it the way it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so.
You get one off the street.
That's right.
Then the others, he's an example. Yeah. You know, they always say, make this person an example of what you want. So he's just going to have to bite the bullet.
He's so young, so God bless his soul. Hopefully he doesn't stay angry for the rest of his life.
Well, they'll probably assign him to some anger management, and he may spend some time in jail. You never know. It all depends on if he's done this before.
For sure.
So, you know.
You know what? I did ask the cops that, believe it or not, because I asked questions, whether they want to answer me or not. They said that he has not been in trouble for that before.
Okay.
So this is the first time he got caught.
Yeah.
Right. But they said that he said that I was the one that brandished the gun and everything. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Okay.
But they already know. Wow. They already knew. Like,
well, you had your evidence.
I also have 2 kids that were witnesses, and they didn't. I don't want them on the statement. I already know the fact. I'm like, they're not going to be on the statement. I'll trust the cops by showing their names. But they did.
You can have their names redacted.
I don't trust it. I don't want it on paper. How about that? But the cops spoke with him, and then they got, they questioned him. So it's, again, why I'm saying this, and I hate to speak personal. It took me like 6 days to talk about this.
Okay.
Out to people. It happened 6 days ago.
You're still getting over the shock.
And I want to know how to release this the right way, and if I should. And I just want people to know that it's really crazy, and it's just like that, and a blink of an eye, it's just like how this happens, and just by kind of innocent, I just turned. He didn't want me to turn. That's what the whole problem was. He just didn't want me to turn.
And then see, I watch the show. It's war. It's one of the shows that come on, Road Rage. And they show Road Rage.
Watch that.
People is getting out their cars,
and a lot of it's in Florida. I see Florida, California.
I've actually witnessed that.
Me too.
Have you guys?
I have been at a traffic light where I saw an older gentleman. He gets out of his car and he goes to the car in front of me, and he goes and he knocks on the window, and I'm like, oh my God, is this going on right before my eyes?
It happened to me the other day. I'll admit, I did kind of cut this lady off. My bad.
Okay.
I stuck my hand out the window.
Right.
But she kept honking.
Oh, but you get the peace sign.
And then she went ahead of me. And I wasn't even paying attention no more. She got out of her car.
Oh, no!
Big old butch. She gets out of the car, starts walking my way. I rolled down the window. She took one look at me. I'm like, You shouldn't do that. And then to the right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, wow. Unbelievable.
Said, Abdullah's going to smack me today, boy.
Isn't that something?
I was ready for that
And
smoke, too.
let me just say, when I'm with a guy, I don't get messed with. But when I'm by myself, everybody messes with me. It's because I look so vulnerable. Look at that. And you got out of it. All you got to do is look at him. They chase me.
Right. We got to get a
You're
song
going to have
in.
to mean mug them.
That's right.
This is crazy.
Y'all keep it
Be
lots of
safe,
peace on the
guys. We
streets,
love you guys.
Cut down on the road rage, y'all.
Woo!
Literally peace on the streets.
Come on. Word.
Boy, that ain't no smooth jazz for you. I don't know what it is, you know. It's a little R&B jazz. Well. So, Cynthia Harris.
Yes, sir.
All right, so it's getting time to vote. So what should we be doing as a people?
As a people.
An insurrection.
Revolt, resist.
I know you was telling
Fight
me.
the power.
We was talking and you was like the other day, you was telling me about everything about black and brown people expires.
Yes.
Whatever we have went through or whatever they voted for us, it's expires.
There's an expiration date on black and brown people.
Damn.
So
Too much wine.
the conversation we was having was that every other group, when there's a bill or a law passed, it has no expiration date. But when it comes to us, you have the Voting Rights Act. 50 years, it expired. So there was a conversation 50 years later about extending our right to vote. Civil rights, extension. It's always an extension. We as black and brown people, especially black people, mainly black people, when it comes to getting things for us, we don't get everything that we ask for. One, because we don't really ask for the right things. Secondly, we get a symbolic gesture. So, for instance, when the Asian American world was getting the brakes beat off of them, within 3 days they passed an anti-hate crime bill for Asians.
3 days.
Yes, and I remember that.
And what happened with black people? We got Juneteenth, a symbolic gesture. Well, I have been celebrating Juneteenth, and a lot of other people across the world have been celebrating. But we're still being oppressed in this country. We're still getting beat up and police brutality, violence in our own communities against each other. And there is nothing in the law to protect us.
Interesting, yes.
And with them, they got a law passed within 3 days.
Yeah.
Wow.
3 days, but we got
And it's no
Juneteenth.
extension. It's no extension. It's not a time period on that.
Right. So we've been oppressed since we've been in this country by force.
Yes.
We are still getting foots in our necks. Where people can come over here from Ukraine and other countries, they get $9,000. They get housing, they get food, but we're homeless and we've been here. We can't get loans and we've been here. We can't start up businesses, but they can go back and forth. Now, a lot of people talk about Marco Rubio and they say, well, he's Cuban and why he's so against the amenities that Cubans get. Well, he did testify before Congress recently. And he talked about how Cubans can come to this country and under the asylum concept, you're running from a country that you want asylum from. You get housing on our tax dollars. You get money every month. You get money for startup businesses. And then a year later, you go back home to Cuba, the place that you came here for asylum for.
You take that money back to Cuba.
You take that money back. But what were you afraid of? The Ukrainians, they have been coming here since the Ukrainian war has started. They get housing. They're here in Florida. They're here. They're everywhere. People who can come under asylum, we're paying for them, but we can't get the amenities and the privileges that we so deserve right here in this country. And we've been here. We were born here. Our ancestors were here before they were, because slavery didn't start our history. We were here. However, a lot of our ancestors were brought by force and not by choice. We built this country, blood, sweat, and tears, but we still don't have the same amenities of equality in this country. We're still really, to be honest, 3/5 of a man still.
Do they do this? Do they support all immigrants that way, as in Mexican or Haitians?
No.
So I was gonna, that's where I was about to come in with this part, because the logistic reason why America is so funding of countries that are seeking asylum is because those countries are basically enemies to the USA, and therefore when you give those immigrants a way better life, it serves as a means of propaganda against the country, right? So whenever a Cuban comes here and he gets all these hookups,
It's a smack in the country's face.
He then sends phone calls and videos and pictures back to Cuba, telling them all about how sick America is, how it's the greatest country of all time.
That's why everybody wants to come.
And then more people are trying to come. Same thing with Venezuela. Same thing with like any country that's like asylum seekers.
Asylum seekers.
There's that. It's like, it's basically the U.S. paying for propaganda, the most effective kind of propaganda in those countries. I'm not saying it's right.
No, it's not right, because propaganda me.
You know,
I mean, give me some money
So
so that I can fund my
Mexico's
businesses in my community.
Yeah.
Give me some money so that I can have better job creation in my communities, because I'm here.
I feel like that the whole immigration dispute is mostly another distraction.
Of course it is.
The main point that it's like, we have resources. We have the money to better our circumstances and help immigrants.
But we're denied.
As well. And we're denied those things. And I feel like it comes back to like, okay, we know that they're not going to give it to us. The U.S. is only going to do things as it is convenient for them to do.
Right.
And it needs to come to, what can we do to mobilize people and mobilize our government in order to make these changes happen? Because I agree with you, the problems are there, and the solutions are fairly simple, but we need to have people that are actually willing to do them.
Well, we have to continue to educate. We have to, because they suppress us when it comes to education, because they're distracting us here and there and everywhere with other garbage, where we need to kind of gain our own focus and come back to what the meat of what's going on.
When you see how public schooling is handled, it's atrocious, right? Because when you see like schools in our neighborhoods, the kids don't have current books. They have to like share Chromebooks or whatever. Yeah. My daughter goes to a little hillbilly like middle school in the middle of Eustis, and they each have a Chromebook. They each have like state of the art supplies, and it just happens to be like 95% of those kids are not any color that is represented here in the room right now.
Okay.
Of course.
And I look at, how can a small, tiny little school with almost no kids in it have so much budget to have all these things for all the kids at all times? They're always having something.
Because their families fight for it.
And then in other places where it's like Orlando, where there's way more money, way more people, way more funding. There should be way more funding for these schools. The lack is there.
Well, they have the funding. The problem is they rob Peter to pay Paul. So, if you need a book, I'm not going to give you a book. You guys have to share one book, because I'm going to take this money and I'm going to hoard it and I'm going to spend it on a statue, something frivolous and stupid.
Right.
Versus what you really need it for. So they squander the money, they misuse it, misappropriate it, and
the system is so jacked up.
That's the ones we're voting in, though.
And we're not saying we don't mind y'all helping other people,
But help us first.
Help us too. And that's what I hear. I talk to a lot of
You can't help others, you help home first. It doesn't make sense.
And that's one of their biggest things is that you guys are going and other people from other countries. We understand that, they're running from whatever they're running from, but you got to treat the people that's here right. I mean, I should be able to get, hell, I wish we gave me a $9,000 check. Right. You know what I'm saying?
You know how hard it is for us to get a loan?
Oh,
we even get a house?
Goodness.
Yeah.
Approved for a house?
And rent going up every day. And, it's just crazy. But, it's got to be a better way. But, part of the problem is we have these conversations, but no one is coming together so that we can make change.
We don't have leaders. We don't have a leader. We don't.
Right.
I mean,
we have to put people in place that are going to fight for us.
Right.
And we have to put the right people in place and not sit back and wait for them to just be the funding source of information for us.
But it's so hard because those people are so powerful. They have so many connections
They're
and money.
only as powerful as you allow them to be.
But look how about Buddy Dyer. Sorry, I got to call it out. He's been there in the game for so long. He's got so much power, money, people. He didn't even really do a run, and he still won. You know what I mean? It's because he's got too much. We can't beat that power.
Yes, you can. The thing of it is, power is what you give. If I make you the most powerful person, if I hype you up and I overinflate you, you're going to be the most powerful person in the room because I have put that facade there to make you such.
Okay, so maybe you should run for.
Hey, shoot, it's out here.
For me, guys, one of the biggest reasons why I keep coming back to this show is
because you love us,
of course. But a big part of what I feel our mission is getting people out to vote more. I feel like we talk about it all the time and we emphasize it a lot, and I think that is ultimately what we can do to actually move the country, or at least move Orlando forward. Most, right?
We can make a change here.
Of course, we can do direct things, like our awesome event with Peace on the Streets, where we fed several hundred people there with the community.
Yeah, shout out to Cynthia Howard's in the building.
And we could do more of those. And by the way, videos coming out soon.
Yay!
We got that coming.
Nice.
So things like that are awesome, but I think if we can get more people voting, that we share.
Could vote. They said voting is not important. Yes, it is. If it wasn't, why would
be focusing on? You need to make sure that your signature is up to date. You need to make sure that your registration is still intact because they do a purge. Supervisors of elections do purges.
Do they?
So when you miss it, you miss so many. I think it's two elections. You automatically start getting on that purge list.
Okay.
And so then you think that you are eligible to vote. You are eligible to vote, but you're not eligible to vote because you've been purged off the list.
Wow.
So many people, they'll come to a precinct on election day and they'll say, I'm sorry, we can't find you in the system. Or I'm sorry, you've already voted. Vote by mail, you must register every year now. Mm-hmm. It's not a 2-year wait on that.
Really?
So you must put in, if you want to vote by mail, you must put in for it. If you're a first-time registered voter, you must vote in person. Okay. You cannot vote by mail. You must actually go and cast your ballot at your precinct. So these are some of the things that have changed here in Florida.
Okay.
And these are the things that we have to make sure that we keep educating people to know that first-time registered voter, you must cast your ballot like you did in the old days, in person.
Right.
If you get a vote by mail in the past, you must make sure that you keep that updated every year. Okay. Because it goes away.
Every year.
Wow.
It goes away. So it used to be you could put in there for the next 3 election cycles that you want to vote by mail. No more. Those days are gone.
And make sure you sign those ballots.
Yes.
I have them returned to me all the time because I don't sign. I'm like, I messed up.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now I got to go in person.
And make sure your signature, because especially if you've had any type of injury or you're older, your signature changes, make sure that you keep your signature up to date, because if you use a vote by mail, your signature is going to be different. Mm-hmm. I try to sign as much as possible the same way, but sometimes because I've changed my signature on purpose just because of fraud. Sometimes I remember when I first learned how to write in cursive, and I might sign my name
The good old days.
The good old days.
Uh-huh.
But I changed my signature on purpose because I have been a victim of fraud.
Right.
You know what I do? I don't put my full name. I put. I'm not gonna say exactly. I don't want you to get it. But I put my full name to where if someone did, I'm like, that's not me. Like I know how to tell.
Mine is fun. I got a crazy signature.
Yeah.
Right.
It really is.
I don't use my name at all.
Yeah.
My signature. Yeah. It's not
So you already know that's not me.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
I might do a C, but all that other stuff, can't nobody write it.
We're not gonna tell you everything, but
But you gotta make sure that you're consistent, and you make sure that when they're comparing signatures, if you're doing vote by mail, that your signature is going to be
match your ID.
It's gonna be up to date because otherwise your vote will not count.
Okay.
It will be rejected.
Make sure you're checking exactly where you have to go voting, because sometimes it may seem clear, but as Mimi figured out, it's sometimes not that clear.
Right. Because they change voting locations all the time.
Yep.
You know, during early vote, typically it's at the library. This mayor's race that we had in the city of Orlando, they had one early vote location for the west side, but the east side had other locations where they could have voted.
Okay.
And see, if you're just kind of a creature of habit in your own little habitat, you wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, if you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to ask us. We got
Cynthia
a lot of people
Harris,
in the game.
I mean, the time go by so fast.
It does, and it's past my bedtime.
I know. We thank you for coming in. It's always a pleasure. But we're doing this once a month with Cynthia Harris.
Woo!
We got to have political talk.
Yes.
We have to have someone that's in here going to educate us and teach us the things that we need to do.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you. You know we love you, girl. So it's our girl, Cynthia Harris. Anything you'd like to say before you close out?
Well, just remember me in November because I am running for supervisor.
Hey,
Yeah.
come on, yeah.
You know we're going to be riding with you,
And
girl.
you know I'm voting. I'll be right there.
That's right.
They can't get my vote.
That's right.
Guys, don't you leave. Coming up next is Miss International World, the CEO.
Mrs. Angela. It's been a pleasure, Cynthia.
Cynthia,
Thank you.
how's the building? Ow. Woo.
Peace on the street, y'all. Back to some of this jazz.
Come on.
Air Force One, of course, is going to get clearance over everything, okay? Because when Air Force One comes on a runway, everything's got to stop. In fact, one time I was flying back, I was flying back from Florida, and Air Force One was, because this is when Clinton was in, and Air Force One was coming into Newark Airport. We had a circle up in the sky. We had a circle around for an hour. We could not land.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, Air Force One, nothing can go near it except the fighter jets. If you're up in the air, you're going to circle, or they're going to divert you to another airport.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah, they will, because that is definitely security clearance. Except for Prince, because he missed Air Force One, they'll just let him land,
Come on, Prince of the South.
Yes, indeed.
They'll definitely let him land. So, and speaking of that, tonight, our Miss International World is at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., sitting in the presidential box.
Insane. We're right there. We're in the house. This is where we at, Miss Angela. Like you said, Air Force One. Prince is there. Insane. It's already started.
Yeah, she got invited to some big show tonight, and she is in the presidential box.
Insane.
Yeah, I mean, she told me this the other day, and she just posted a picture of her getting dressed up and tagging everybody and saying, big event tonight, I'll announce it later. But I knew where she was going because she had told me.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, I was like, unbelievable. I said, well, I said, I got to tell this to Prince. We're getting closer and closer.
That's it. But we've been claiming it. It's going to happen. It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, unbelievable. When she told me that, I said, oh, my God. And she was in the White House a few weeks ago with a couple of the press secretaries.
Insane.
Yeah, it is. It's insane.
Surrounded by greatness. Insane.
Yeah. So, I mean, I said to her, great job. Go to race.
I'm so proud of her. And if you guys don't know, she's the one that won Miss International World. So you must follow our pages so you can see these impressive ladies that are literally making a change in the game. I'm so impressed and honored to be a part of this.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're so honored to have all you ladies part of this because, I mean, you never know. You want one lady does something, and it'll pull another lady into something else.
That's
I mean,
how it works.
Just the fact that this girl is a journalist, and look at where she's going.
Come on. And she's very articulate. It makes sense. This is her gift. She's great.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to be the youngest journalist to the Pentagon, and, you know, I mean, that is really... you know, climbing the ladder there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, on my show tomorrow night, I finally was able to get the great Lamont Easter.
Come on, Lamont. It's amazing.
Yeah, Lamont Easter. He's my guest tomorrow night. So that should be, you know, for a year I've been trying to get Lamont. You know, he's got a crazy schedule. Huh. But I finally got him, and what a great show. I mean, unbelievable the accomplishments he has.
Oh, I already know. It's impressive. You guys have to check this out.
Yeah. I mean, the celebrities that he's been with, the movies he's been with. You know, it's a funny thing. I've, not this past New Year's, but the New Year's before, I'd gone to see a show with Eric Berman, who was in Jersey Boys. And I did not know that he was in House of Cards with Lamont.
I saw that he maybe shared this a while ago. And if you guys don't know Lamont Easter, he's one of the hosts that's with Mrs. National World for years. He's been a part of this, so you must check out his work. It's impressive. I mean, he's a famous actor to me. He's a famous actor. I've seen impressive work by him.
Oh yeah, impressive work. And the thing is that when I met with Eric, he said to me, he says, "You got Lamont as your host?" He says, "You hit the jackpot."
Come on.
Oh, yeah, he loved him. And Lamont said, oh, yeah, he's a very talented guy. I knew Eric was a singer because I remember from Jersey Boys, but I did not know how talented he really was. And then, of course, Lamont was in Madam Secretary with Gina Davis. Okay. And how about when we announced at the pageant that he was a stand-in for President Obama?
That's impressive. He looks just like him. I'm not going to lie. He's great. He's great.
Well, wait till you see the pictures coming out on my show tomorrow night. You'll see Lamont and then President Obama. President Obama.
Wow.
I said, I remember what the president said to him when he walked in. He said, "You're my stand-in?" He says, "You look better than me."
He does look like a younger version of Obama. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, he's that first. So, I mean, that was great, you know, to be a stand-in for the president.
That you can't get any higher.
Yeah, he can't get any better. So I said, Lamont, I said, you've really, yeah, he's done a lot. I mean, he was just with somebody from one of the baseball teams, and he does a lot of charity work. And, you know, he brought it out, why he does charity work. I never realized it. He said, you know, he's gotten to a point in his life where it's not about donating money, but donating his time. And he said that the entertainment industry has been so good to him that's the reason why he does this.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why he does that. And then I said to him, I said, what was the highlight of your career? He said, getting that Lifetime Presidential Achievement Award.
That's it. That Lifetime. That's it. Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, Lamont has really done a lot of accomplishments. And as you know, he's coming back as the host.
I can't wait to meet him again. I can't wait to see his work and much more to come from him. He's great, guys. You got to check him out.
Oh, yeah. No, he's doing a lot of great things. And then, of course, you know, we have tonight I was on a virtual call with 100 Successful Women in the Global Trade Chamber. We had over 35 women from around the world on that call tonight.
Goodness, come on. Love
yeah,
it.
It was unbelievable.
Really?
Made a couple of good contacts there.
Nice.
Latina was even on the call.
Come on.
Yeah, she was on the call. So, yeah, it happened. It turned out to really be a great virtual event tonight.
Wow. And these are the women that just won recently? Or some that have been honored?
These were some women that were honored in the past, but this was a lot of new women.
Wow.
Yeah. So the chamber's really growing. I mean, there was some really good contacts there, some good government contacts, people that know how to do government contracts for small businesses. Very interesting.
I'm really happy to hear this. Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. No, it was really good. So, of course, we got International Women's Day, which is coming up. That's our biggie coming up now on March the 8th.
That's right, guys.
Yeah, that is going to be an insane day. I think that day there's going to be shows all over the place for women.
Yes, I can't wait. It's a big deal.
It is. Yeah, it's really good. That's going to be amazing. And then, of course, Melina's got her big event coming up in April, Salsa Fest.
Yes, Salsa Fest.
Yeah. Like she's got Salsa Fest. So we got a lot coming up between February, March, and April.
Woo! And I have been a part of that journey, Salsa Fest, guys. It's usually typically 10,000 people that are there. And Miss International World usually gets on stage. It's a beautiful thing out there. It's amazing culture, great people, great atmosphere. Everybody gets along. Everybody just wants to have a good time. I love it.
Oh, yeah, no, that's going to be. And, I might have an opportunity to get a couple of our girls at the Cannes Film Festival in May in Paris.
Insane. In Paris? Yep. Like the country, like the city, Paris, like we're leaving? We're going to France?
Yeah, Cannes, France. That's the Riviera of France.
Insane.
Yeah, I had somebody that reached out to me, and she said, if you have some models, Planet Fashion TV is going out there to cover it.
Wow, good for them. That's a big deal. Wow.
Yeah.
I have never left the country for fashion. I can't imagine the caliber it is there.
Oh, my God, the Cannes Film Festival, that is the major celebrity.
Interesting.
Yeah, you got to be a big name. The entertainers that go, you got to be a Harrison Ford or a Brad Pitt in that caliber to really even walk that red carpet.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's highly expensive to be there, so I can imagine.
Well, look at the Super Bowl. They said this year the tickets for the Super Bowl are the highest that they've had in years.
Really?
$12,000 if you want to sit down below.
$12,000 for a seat.
And they said his nosebleed is $10,000.
Right.
And the place is finna be jam-packed.
And if you want to sit in the bleachers, you're still talking $6,200.
Yeah. It's unreal. I just don't understand.
Where does that money go?
How do NFL? You got to pay the players. You pay the players.
Got it.
And look how much merchandise that's finna be sold there. All the jerseys. NFL finna make so much money. It's unreal. It's unreal.
Oh, it sells out. And I will tell you, there are people that beg, borrow, and steal just to go to that Super Bowl game.
Have you ever been, Miss Angela?
No, I've never been to a Super Bowl game. I've been to a World Series game, but
wow.
Oh yeah, I went to Yankees. Yeah,
Come
I went to
on.
World Series. Oh yeah, and that's crazy. Okay,
I know.
Especially when the New York Yankees win on the home field.
Yes,
Come on.
Lord, the place. But they said the Yankees is already sold out for the next 4, 5 years, 10 years. It's
Oh
hard
yeah,
to
the
get
Yankees.
tickets.
Yeah, the Yankees are so. New York fans are the craziest fans in the world. They're worse than the fans in California.
Never bad.
When New York, if you're playing on your home field in New York, and New York should lose, you better start leaving before the game is over, because that's it. It's all hell breaks out.
Oh,
but if
yeah.
they win, oh my God,
Party.
Party. Oh my God, it's like the whole city of New York comes down to
We
its
get
knees.
in. It's
Wow.
crazy, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Oh yeah, I mean they would take down the Empire State Building in a minute. Oh yeah, New York fans have always been known to be the craziest fans in the world.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
This is true.
When they hosted the Japanese players, and that was just an exhibition game, and they lost to them. Oh Jesus, that was unbelievable.
Oh,
That
okay.
was, oh yeah, that was crazy. I mean, the fans, and these fans get nuts. If they lose a game, they throw the stupidest stuff out on the field.
Yeah, Prince, have you ever been to anything like the Stanley Cup, World Series?
Well, I've been to a lot of the
Super Bowl?
bowl games.
Okay.
And I took Peace on the Streets to a bowl game.
By the way, a Bulls
Wisconsin.
game's coming here.
Yeah, and so I would go to the games and get in with Peace on the Streets. I love the bowl game.
There's a bowl game
with the
coming here when?
colleges.
And who?
Well, they're having the Pro Bowl here
Pro Bowl.
this weekend.
That's right.
Yeah, they're
That's
having
right.
the Pro Bowl game.
Right here in
Pro
Citrus.
Bowl,
What was it called?
yeah.
Camping World Stadium.
So I've been to a lot of football games and basketball games. But
Is it by Tyler Perry, though?
Oh yeah, Tyler Perry announced it today on his show.
Is he
Soul Train is
hosting it?
coming back.
I wonder if he's hosting it or they got another host.
Yeah, you guess who's? Well, he's not hosting it, but guess who they're considering to host it?
Who?
Take a wild guess, and it'll be funny as hell.
David Chappelle?
No, Eddie Murphy.
Oh, yeah.
I think it'd be great.
Great.
I think that's a great
That'd be
Wow,
great.
look at this, friends.
Oh, man,
wow.
yeah. Eddie, Eddie, that legend,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Eddie took comedy someplace else where we don't even know comedy.
They said Raw is still the number one stand-up box office ever.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
He's still breaking Raw. They still trying to catch up with Raw. It broke so many records.
Oh yeah, Eddie took comedy to a whole new world.
Yes. When Richard Pryor passed the torch to Eddie, he took off. In the 80s, it was all about Eddie. Eddie
Oh yeah, it was all.
man.
Well, that was his idol.
Richard.
Eddie Murphy. Richard was his idol.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Oh, he loved him, and when he did Harlem Nights with him.
Yes.
Oh
That's
yeah,
right.
but you got to admit, Richard Pryor was great.
Yes, he was. Oh, Richard.
How about when he made that movie, Silver Streak, with Gene Wilder?
Oh, man. Yeah. One of my favorites.
That's
one of my favorites. I remember when that came out on the scene. Wasn't that the one they had to do the prison scene with the big guy?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, that was one of my favorites right there. And Harlem Nights is one of my favorites as well.
Yeah, Harlem Nights was good, yeah. It seemed that Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder, they made a great comedy team together.
Yes, they did. They clicked very well. What about our man, a lot of people don't know him, or some people, I don't know if you know him or not, Flip Wilson. Flip Wilson
God,
was the
crazy.
man.
He was crazy. Remember Geraldine?
Oh, Geraldine. And what's the dude's name? Is, golly, what was her boyfriend? Killer.
That's right.
Her boyfriend name was Killer. You got to watch Mimi on one of the things. If you could turn up and watch Flip Wilson's show.
Okay.
He had the biggest show at that time. Everybody wanted to come on the Flip Wilson show.
TV show?
TV show.
Huh.
And he had
And you know who kicked it off? He used to be the Playboy Club all the time. Dick Gregory.
Sure did. Yeah.
Dick Gregory kicked it off, okay?
Yeah. Uh-huh. And he would have everybody, all the stars, Muhammad Ali, all the football players, basketball players, and he would dress up in the dress as Geraldine. and you thought Whatchacollar was feisty when Martin played. Martin couldn't touch Geraldine.
Wow.
Oh, man, Geraldine would eat you alive.
Oh, yeah, Geraldine. Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah, Flip Wilson was crazy because Dick Gregory really started it off, okay?
Uh-huh.
And you know what my other favorite show was? Sanford and Son.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yes,
I've watched every episode 30 times.
Oh, yeah. In fact, they have it on the old channel. When he comes on, that's all I leave on is Sanford and Son.
Yep.
Now, Damon is speaking out now about what happened on the show.
No.
Yes, he is. And he was like, because, Fred wound up going broke.
He did.
Didn't nobody help him. Well, what happened is, even he had that on one of his episodes, when the IRS is sending him a bill, put it back in the mailbox. That's what he was doing in real life, and they came and taxes got him, you know what I'm saying? And but I used to like All in the Family.
Oh, that was another crazy one, too.
Yeah.
You
got away with murder.
That was another. But you know who really held Fred out was, besides Lamont, trying to think of her name, Pearl Bailey. She bailed him out.
Did she?
Yeah, she bailed him out because, you're right, he would just put the letter back in the mail, but it was Pearl Bailey who actually, of course, he had the heart attack when that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had a heart attack right on set.
He died.
Oh, no.
That was his thing, having a heart attack, and that's how he died. With a heart attack,
exactly.
And people thought that he was just playing.
No, he actually died on set, but Pearl Bailey, previous to that, bailed him out because she was very close with him.
Okay.
I didn't know that's what happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep,
That got to him. Yeah, that IRS business really did get to him.
That's
Yeah,
sad.
and it was sad because what happened is that they came and they put him out on the streets.
They did.
They took all his stuff, and he was like, all the people I've helped in Hollywood, nobody stepping up.
Nobody helped him?
like even Damon, the guy that played with him, Lamont, he said that the reason he didn't help him because it was self-inflicted. He said, you wouldn't pay your own taxes yourself, and you knew you had to pay them. Why am I going to take my money and pay your taxes
that
for
makes
you?
Sense.
He said it was self-inflicted. And then Fred, and then a lot of times they was doing the stuff they was doing, and Fred wasn't making smart decisions because they was giving him $100,000 an episode.
Wow.
Fred wanted more, and back then $100,000 was it was worth like $300,000 or $400,000 today.
Exactly. What what that happened to? But then the IRS realized what he was doing. Willie Nelson got into some kind of trouble, and they came and took everything out of his house one time, but there was a mistake because when they saw what he was doing for Farm Aid and he was taking all that money and turning it over to the farmers, the IRS gave him everything back.
Did they?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think he defaulted once. When they saw what he did, they gave him everything back because they said he did do his due diligence.
That's what's up.
Yeah, but Fred, that was a shame. But it was Pearl Bailey that came to his rescue because she adored him.
Yes. I mean, he had a good show.
Oh, yeah, that Sanford and Son, that was crazy.
Yes.
Oh, my God. Yeah, and the guy that played the cop was even funnier.
Yes, he was.
That's my dad's favorite show.
Yeah,
that's his favorite show to this day.
I put that whenever I see it, I get to running them reruns. Miss our time has wrapped up, girl. Overtime go. We've been talking 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
I love it.
Time flies when you're having fun. Miss Angela, give us your closing statement, please.
Closing statement every Wednesday night. Peace on the streets.
Woo!
Yes,
guys, you don't want to miss it. Every Wednesday nights for the updates here with Miss International World, Miss Latina International, 10:15 to 10:30. Usually every single Wednesday. Tap in for the updates, the highlights, and the impressive work that the ladies are making here in our country. This is Peace on the Streets with
Mrs. Angela.
Oh, come on.
And I got a chance to say it on stage.